All right, corner three for the win. No, but a valiant effort. Lots to talk about. Jazz fall to the Bulls, and we're doing it next on POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Utah Jazz came back from a 10-point fourth quarter deficit, had a chance to win it after bizarre circumstances in which a coach got a technical foul, two players got a technical late in the game. The Jazz tied it up, then two free throws, and they had a chance to win it, going for the three to win it. Collin Sexton wins out, and the Jazz fall. Jazz trailed this game at the end of one by the score of 33-29. Then we're down 63 to 54 at the half, and then trailed by 10 in the fourth. So they worked their way back into this one. DeMar DeRozan was clutch for the Bulls late. They've won the most clutch games of anyone in the NBA. But the Jazz had every answer late. Collin Sexton with a bunch of them. Fourth quarter, Collin Sexton has 8 points, 5 for Chris Dunn, who's doing a bunch of work on the defensive end as well. And a bunch of really interesting moments. Good rebounds by Brice Sensabaugh. Lots to talk about tonight. But obviously a bummer that three didn't fall because Collin was wide open.
Well, such a great look, and those are practice shots. That is a practice shot right there, and you said something that was key. I mean, when you didn't shoot in rhythm, I mean, it actually takes his time, plenty of time, find the seams, and maybe you tighten up a little bit. Because it hit the right side of the rim.
It looked like a tight shot. I actually, watching the replay, John Collins laid such a hammer pick that
they sent him to the floor.
They sent him to the floor, so I don't think there was something else. My actual first reaction, and I don't know that I'm right, but it tells you a little bit of how uncomfortable Collin looked, was that there was a play call for something else, and so that Collin got the ball thinking he was doing something else, and then realized, oh my gosh, I'm so open, I've got to shoot. The other theory, which I think is more accurate, is, oh my gosh, I'm so open, I'm going to take my time, and then he got taught.
I think that's it. Otherwise, if that was the case, he wouldn't have run to the three-point line.
Well, yeah. I guess my thought was it was a John Collins pick, and you're trying to get John Collins at the rim as they protect the three-point line for the tie. I like going for the three. By the way, I'll point that out. They went for 2 threes there late. That's the right play. The chances of winning the game are much higher if you shoot a three. I actually have done this. I have a decision-making tree I could actually pull out if I really had to, but just trust me. If you shoot a three and they don't get another possession, if you can take away their next possession and you shoot a three late or a chance to win, it's a much higher win probability than a two and going to overtime.
Yeah, I totally agree there, and it's just surprising that one of those threes didn't go in.
Yeah.
I mean, this is two very good three-point shooters, even though Clarkson has struggled here from time to time, but he had the look he needed. Didn't fall, but I guarantee you, and we know Collin Sexton as well as anyone. I mean, we had him on the show, we talked to him in practice or whatever, at shoot-arounds, and he's sitting in his locker right now, reliving that play, and thinking about it. But.
You mentioned Jordan, as great as he was the other night. Tonight's the other side of Jordan Clarkson. He goes 5 of 17 from the field on a night without Lowry Markkanen. You've got to have him. Jazz, when he shoots 33% or below, the Jazz are now 4-15 on the season. 4-15. I mean, when he has a good game, they win. And when he has a tough night, and he is a variable one, it's hard for this team the way they're constructed to win a game if Jordan's off.
Yeah, it's especially if he's going to be on the floor 34 minutes like he played tonight. And he off the bench, he's averaging about 30 minutes a game, 34 minutes tonight. And how many shots? 17. And that's about what he averages, about 15 shots a ball game. So,
all right, I'm being told the audio's bad tonight. Maybe it's too hot. Sorry, that's on me. Audio's no longer going to be distorted. Thank you for letting me know. Appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry. It still looks like it's a little hot, but I'll try to get it back down. There we go. That looks better. Sorry. I used same box I used for halftime, and halftime has to be really loud, and this has to be really low, and so it happens, and I screw it up, so it's my fault. Let's talk about Brice Sensabaugh. He got his first start tonight. He's known as a scorer, pure kind of big-time scorer out of Ohio State. He ends up with 12 rebounds.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting.
So I think he averaged 6 rebounds in college, if I remember my numbers, 6.4, 6.5 rebounds a ball game. It tells me that, yeah, he can rebound. I'm not sure his numbers in the G League if he was rebounding there as well, but it's 6'6", good for him.
What do you think of him tonight? I'm the fan, so I liked him out of the draft. I'm looking to like him right now, so I'm probably a little bit too positive on things, but I really do think he has an offensive bag, and I think this league is driven by offense.
Well, I'm going by you and the good things that you said about him. And what I was impressed with tonight, he didn't force anything. And it ends up getting off 8 shots, as you mentioned, 12 rebounds. And what was that? Not 3 of them coming on the offensive glass. But he didn't force anything. And he took the shots. I'm sure Will was saying, if you're open, shoot the basketball. And he did it. Defensively, what do you think?
That's going to be the issue. I actually got to be honest. I haven't seen him get abused. I actually expected to see him get abused and annihilated. And I haven't seen that. So I would have to talk to the coaches about rotations and things like that. But the obvious stuff, just like on ball stuff, I think he's been fine, or at least not bad. And I expected he would be terrible.
Well, in the previous 2 games that he was in the rotation, I think he was playing in 8-minute stints, something like that. Now, when Laurie comes back and Taylor and Keontae probably go back to those 8 minutes, but as long as the Jazz don't lose a lot while he's out there on the floor and he shows some promise, why not? He needs to be in the rotation in order to see what he's got.
Yeah, no, I think we'll see him every night for the rest of the way for the Jazz. John Collins just continues to have monster number games, but I like these monster number games so much more than some of the number games earlier this year. I don't know how I can explain this. The comment I made is I feel like there's some real depth to his numbers right now. Whereas earlier this year, I felt like he was putting up numbers and then he'd be like minus 11 or minus 15 or things like that. And you're like, okay, there is a point in this game where there are rebounds and points to be had every night, just guaranteed by being out there. This feels like there's more to these performances than we had earlier this year.
I totally agree. And I was thinking about that during the course of the basketball game is the numbers that he put up tonight had an impact. Sometimes guys put up numbers and they don't impact the ball game at all. And I think that's what we are seeing in him. He had a tough job tonight. Vukovic is strong. He has what I'd call a 3-way game. He posts up, he shoots the 3, and obviously he shoots that mid-range. So and then Collins playing the center position. He's also a helper, which means that he's got a tough job trying to keep Vukovic off the.
I mean, they run the most pick and rolls of any team in the league. They run 50 through Vuce a night. Nobody else runs more than 40. I mean, just to think about it, Rudy Gobert in his heyday with us ran 42 picks a game, which felt like we ran a pick and roll through Rudy on every play. And now they're running 50. But what Billy Donovan explained to us before the game is, well, he can pop, he can play in the pocket, and
especially when they play 4 guards. Yeah, and they have 4 guards out there on the floor,
and they can roll to the basket. And so he's just doing so many different things and giving you looks that's awfully hard to deal with, and that was hard for them tonight.
Think about this, David. If you're a guard having to defend the guard and you're playing against a big guy like that, it's what did I say, 270, something like that, and you're constantly running off picks and guys that are, you're taking a beating trying to defend someone that's going to get 20 shots a ball game. That's tough to do.
All right, for other aspects of the Jazz tonight, Collin Sexton with 11 3-point attempts. I never thought I'd see that. He just let it fly, which is great. He also had 7 assists, 24 points. Another really good game for Collin. Chris Dunn had DeRozan late, was kind of great effort playing against his former team. I thought Chris was pretty terrific tonight.
Yeah, I love him out there on the floor. He does things and impacts the ball game entirely different than a lot of players. And
we play harder when he's on the floor.
Yeah. I agree with there as well.
Right, he does something to everybody else on the floor, and he plays harder than everybody else.
Yeah. Great hands, uses his hands quite a bit. Sometimes he picks up fouls using his hands, but you can count on him. And Will has a lot of good things to say about him.
All right, well, the Jazz fall to the Bulls tonight. The Bulls are actually now gaining another game on the Jazz in draft position, so that's not the worst thing ever. Houston did lose tonight in a game they led by a lot, so that's not super. In regards to draft position, Jazz did get one good. The one other outcome was all right. We'll be in Denver on Saturday for our next one. In the meantime, we got to start up. I think we actually never started up the other night. We kind of went around and we talked about it, and I don't think we ever gave the stars. All right, who are your stars tonight, Ron?
We did give the stars.
We did? It was just Collin and Jordan?
I thought we gave the stars, yeah.
We talked about John. Okay.
Right.
Lacey would know if we did. Lacey would have called us.
I guess I think the young kids should get one.
Brice
Sensabaugh and John Collins. How about that?
Sensabaugh and Collins for your stars tonight. Brice gets 15 points, 12 rebounds, and assists. John Collins, 25 points, 14 rebounds, 2 block shots tonight. And so the Jazz fall to the Chicago Bulls. Fun game. Last 2 games at home have been a lot of fun. Jazz pushed down the wire. Bulls now have the most clutch wins of any team in the NBA, and obviously DeMar DeRozan was a major part of it again. 15 in the fourth quarter tonight. He had 19 in the fourth quarter against Sacramento. Jazz lose to the Bulls. Collin Sexton's 3 clangs out, and the Jazz can't pull off what would have been a remarkable win late with all sorts of craziness, with the coaches getting technicals, Kobe White grabbing a rebound and going out of bounds, all that. But it didn't happen. In the meantime, we send you now to the first ever 24/7 national sports channel on YouTube called Locked On Sports Today. It's also available on Amazon Fire TV.